Hello and welcome to Three Books with Dweck. I am your host, Dweck Awolalu, and my guest this week is a very smart young man I found on Twitter. He is known for his staunch defense of the Christian faith against atheists on social media, an author of several articles on apologetics and the art of seduction. Ladies and gentlemen, Ebuka Atuegwu. Good evening, Ebuka.
Good evening, Dweck.
How are you? Yeah. You actually pronounced it well. Like pronouncing it for the first time, you tried. Dweck, it's called Dweck.
Thanks.
All right. So, what's up now? How was your week?
It was okay. It was pretty okay.
Oh, okay.
I thank God. How was yours?
It was hectic. I'm never going to lie. Work, trying to edit the last episode, and also preparing for this one also. So it was really hectic for me. But anyways, we are here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I got to know you through Twitter, and I think that was sometime last year, beginning of last year, and it was during the time I started to discover the concept of apologetics and trying to explain my Christian through rational means. And so like when I saw your tweets, seeing you defend the Christian faith against atheists, and I was like really impressed that we have such community here in Nigeria. And like following you, I was exposed to that community of like-minded Nigerian Christians that love to defend our faith through rational means. And this is actually and your tweets are actually really impressive. And I've seen some of your articles on Nairaland. For those of you listening, I would admonish you guys to check his Twitter. I think his handle is, what's your handle again? I beg, no vex.
I am King Ebuka.
Okay, just King Ebuka. So you guys should follow him if you want to check out some really cool stuff on religion, Christianity, and philosophy. So yes, without further ado, let's start. So what are your 3 books, Ebuka?
The 3 books I want to talk about The Art of Seduction by Greene.
Okay.
The second book is Mindset, The New Psychology of Success by Dweck.
Okay.
And the third book is Sex at Dawn, How We Meet, Why We Stray, and What It Means for Modern Relationships by Christopherian and Cacilda Jethá.
Okay. That's Sex.
The Prehistoric Origins of Human Nature.
Yeah, Prehistoric Origins of Human Nature. Yeah. Now, mindsets. So, like, what about this mindset book? Because I tried to pick the book up, and why exactly do you like this book? What stood out for you?
I just the book is an incredibly simple book that explains mindset, and I've been a big fan of a big lover of mindset, and the mindset is about the way we think and the way we perceive certain situations, the assumptions we have about certain things. It's basically what mindset is. So I've always looked at mindset as a great determinant for success.
Yeah.
And I needed the right book that is going to expose me to the right way of thinking that will actually ensure my success in life. So I picked up mindset, and Carol did a good job with the book. She points out that there are 2 types of mindset: the growth mindset and the fixed mindset. Now, the fixed mindset is that some aspects of us are unchangeable.
Yeah.
You get ingrained; they are unchangeable. and we can do basically nothing about it. But the growth mindset is that for the growth mindset, aspects of odds are malleable.
Yeah.
They're not impervious to change.
Yeah.
You get, we can actually develop, we can actually grow. Even from the name, you can get a clear idea of what that type of mindset is about. You get. So and I think what stood out for me in the book, it actually goes on to explain how mindset affects parenting, business, schools, and relationships. But what stood out for me is how mindset affects children, how children behave. That's how you respond to your child's behavior. Take for example the example she gave. Let me just call it behavior. That you shouldn't praise a child for their intelligence, but maybe like doing something remarkable, or getting some accomplishment or fulfilling some tasks. That you shouldn't praise the child's intelligence.
Are you
That you should
serious?
actually, yeah, you should actually praise effort. Why? Because when you tell a child, "Oh, Doi, you're so smart," the child wants to actually maintain that perception of himself as a very smart person.
Yeah.
You understand? And that will make him avoid challenges that will actually question
His
that perception.
intelligence. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay. That's that's an
exactly.
interesting way to
And
put it.
it blew my mind, and I was like, wow. You get. So and yeah, and that's why I love the book. I think that's the most significant part, because I've seen this particular point she made about parenting, mindset and parenting.
Yeah.
Okay, this particular idea that she shared in the book, I've seen it in originals by Adam Grant. Adam Grant also mentioned that particular point to show that that's actually the most significant
So
point in the book.
you praise their efforts and not their
Yeah,
intelligence itself.
exactly. When a child accomplishes something, you praise them for the effort they put. You get, not their intelligence or their particular behavior, but praise the.
This is an articulate way of like telling African parents or explaining why African parents will never tell you that, oh, you are so smart, you did so well in school. Or they will always tell you that the other person have to wait. The person that got 100 does he have to, or maybe you come with 98% in class, let's say best in class, and you tell them, mommy, okay, like why didn't you get 100? So really did like an articulate way, put way of explaining why they. But that's quite interesting. Of putting it that way. But like what I saw something about that book in terms, as you mentioned, fixed mindset and what's it called, and
growth mindset
and good mindset, right? So good mindset is that which enables you to know that they are, like, most things are malleable about
they can
you.
change.
But there are still some things about human beings, some things that are not malleable. And for me, sometimes good mindset is not just knowing that you can change everything, right? But also accepting the fact that there are some things you cannot change about yourself and to live with it, right?
Yeah, I was reading Quiet by Susan Cain. And she mentioned that we have free will. We have free will. We can actually change ourselves, but we cannot exceed our genetic limit. And I was like, you get. So there are certain things you can change, but you cannot exceed your genetic limit. Like now, you can read as many books as you want, but so long as you don't have the capacity or the capability to become a Stephen Hawking, your intelligence will actually stay at a particular level because you have fully maximized your potential. You get? Yeah. So that's
But
about it.
I think I know I think I object to that because I read there's a book there was a book I read about
Yeah.
talent code. Yes, I remember. It's called the talent code.
Mm-hmm.
Tried to
Mm-hmm.
use neurology, neuroscience to explain the principles
Yeah.
of practice or the principles of gaining talent, right?
Yeah.
About the one of not being able to exceed your genetic makeup. I think it's possible through practice. So there's like the reason why we
But
do
it's
certain
possible
things.
to
Let's say,
practice.
yeah,
Hmm.
like the reason why we
Okay.
do certain things, right? Let's say
Okay.
like the reason why Messi can play the ball, like curve the ball so well, right?
Yeah.
Is because of he thinks about it. He thinks about what to do, and then his brain
Yeah.
sends the right exact kind of signals from through the neurons, right? Sends the right
Yeah.
signals to his leg to play the
Yeah.
perfect shot,
Yeah.
the perfect angle to use, the perfect power
Yeah.
to use, and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
So there is this perfect transportation of signals from the brain to the leg,
Yeah.
to the leg, right?
Yeah.
And to us, it seems sometimes it's natural, right? I think for me,
Yeah.
for Messi's on, it's natural. But for some people,
Yeah.
right, the ability to gain new talent is really to understand that why me? I cannot play the ball as well as Messi. I can think about
Mhm.
what to do, but my leg will not
Yeah.
just do the right thing. It's
The
because,
execution will be poor.
yes, will be poor because
Yeah.
I'm not sending the right signals from my head
Yeah.
to my what's it called, to
Yeah.
my feet. So there is
Yeah.
something in neurology like beneath the frontal cortex, I think, the white matter,
Mm-hmm.
right? um
Yeah. Yeah.
there's something called myelin sheath. So
Mm-hmm.
the more you practice, let's say the more I visualize how to play the ball, and the more I keep
Yeah.
practicing, intentional
Yeah.
practice, the signals from that move from my head, the way I visualize it, to my feet
Mm-hmm.
gets better. Why? Because the more I practice, the more I use a particular neural link in particular neural circuitry, right? The more myelin
Yeah.
sheets tend to insulate that circuitry better. So signals are not lost. There are no losses, right? So the signals can pass
Yeah.
without loss and even faster. So the more you practice, the more like it is more like doing something outside, outward, right?
Yeah.
Affecting the inward,
Yeah.
affecting you biologically. Like you are now creating new circuitry, creating new
Yeah.
neural path for yourself. So the one of because I can do exceptional things that ideally they are genetics, they are genetic. I don't mean like people that are
Yeah.
genetically maybe their legs are usually I'm not saying like so maybe someone that is amputated now can be able to score goal. No, I
Okay.
mean like you are okay, but like you have certain genetic restrictions. I think through intentional training, right, you can
Yeah.
get to that level. And
Yeah.
that talent code, that book really explained how people can become, or he gave example of people with average
I,
IQs and being chess grandmasters eventually, or being musical prodigies eventually.
wow. What about prodigies?
Okay, so yeah, they are prodigies, right? They are people
Yeah.
that are exceptionally brilliant
Exactly.
from
At
birth.
a very young age. Yeah.
Yes,
At
from
six
birth, there
months,
are
a
people
child
that,
is already talking and solving complex
yes, yes.
mathematical.
And we,
Yeah, adolescent, sorry. He started
exactly,
solving complex like calculus and algebra
exactly.
and the
You
rest.
know, an example, we play football now. I mean, we watch football. There are people that we know that
Yeah,
have talent at the age of 15 or 16.
yeah,
But
yeah,
eventually, after
exactly.
5 or 6 years, bruh, they are playing rubbish. There's someone that we know that before he wasn't so good, but over time, like, bro, where did this come from? How did you get this good?
He got better.
He got better. Do you understand? Through intentional
Yeah.
practice. So I think our genetic restrictions can, like, those barriers can be broken through
practice.
through practice. Yes. So I don't really agree with that genetic restriction. But obviously, there are some things we cannot do.
I think you've given me something to actually research on. I'll look for books that. What did you say the name of the book is again? Sorry.
Talent code. Talent code. Yeah, is an incredible book. To be honest, it's an incredible book. But yeah, I really love this mindset and this fixed mindset and this
growth mindset.
Yeah, growth mindset is incredible. When I saw it, I was like, yeah. That this is insane stuff. So let's move to what's it called? Sex at Dawn.
Yeah.
So this book, I have a question for you. Why this book? Why? What's so intriguing about this book? Because I think I know, I have an idea why this book appeals to you, but just prove me wrong. Why
I've always been obsessed. Like I said, I've been obsessed about human nature, and why I picked this book is that I really want to know, the cultural aspects and the biological aspect.
Ebuka too. No, I kind of like, I know, like, you are what's it called? You are obsessed with the evolutionary psychological explanation of these things, yeah. But the thing is, like, of all the books on issues, this kind of issues, why this particular book? That's the thing that is busting my head. Like, why this one? This particular
I think it does excellently to should I say destroy our perception of human sexuality as human sexuality. I think it did so excellently.
Yeah.
The points were valid and relevant. You get no beating around the bush. He actually proved that some perspectives of human nature that we have are cultural, and they are mistaken for biological. That is due to innate evolutionary programming. You get does excellently
our major
separate what's cultural and what's actually biological, and that's why I love the book. Yeah, and you remember our argument. It was after I read this book that I was like, wow. So many things that I thought were actually biological about women were just cultural. Yeah, like the hypergamous nature of women. Why do women find men with power, with status attractive? The rich guys, women find them attractive. Is it biological? Is it cultural? So I found out from people that is mostly cultural, and I think the evidence they presented was pretty compelling and impressive.
Oh, okay. So the thing is, I think we'll have a little argument on this book, because I think otherwise about this book. I think otherwise about this book. First and foremost, like, from the beginning of the book, as I was reading from the first chapter, I was like, nah, this is pseudoscience. I don't know, for me. So, like, let me start with why I think you love this book so much is because I think before you read the book, you already had your own presuppositions about the origins of behavior, if it is biological or cultural. You already have these presupposed ideas of this is the reason, like, some things that men do and some things that women do are cultural, right? We've had this.
Okay, you're trying to say it's more of a confirmation bias.
Yeah, confirmation bias for you. So you're reading and you're like, yes, I agree with this. Yes, I agree with this. It makes sense. So I think that's because if you really dissociate yourself from the bias, right? Like, try to read it from a scientific, because it's meant to be a scientific book, right? But all I saw personally, I saw lots of straw mans and lots of cherry picking that the
cherry
guy
picking.
these
Yeah.
people eat them. So as I was reading, I thought it was me that had the problem, right? Maybe everything I know about evolutionary, and I know that I know anything about evolution, but the little I know about evolutionary biology and evolutionary psychology, right? Maybe
Yeah.
everything is wrong. Then I went ahead to go and check reviews, right?
Mhm.
Almost every serious scientific person said the book is pseudoscience, gave one negative review or the other. The people that gave positive reviews, right, were mostly liberals and mostly the left-wing people that really want to erase any differences between men and women, inherent differences between men, females and males. So like
Yeah.
lots of people like Steven Pinker, right, said the book is
Yeah.
pseudoscience. A lot of people said like the they literally were just cherry picking and whatnot. So
You know why Stevie Picker?
because the Yab
And,
game abi.
they
Yeah,
attacked
they attacked him. Yeah, I know. I saw that
they
part where they
attacked
attacked
him
him.
with the book.
No, the attacking was justifiable. Like I understand Stevie Pinker can be very stupid with his ideas sometimes.
Yeah.
It's justifiable, but like I have some reasons. Like, okay, I can mention them out to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I think what they were trying to do is try to eliminate or just reduce whatever inherent differences we have right now, or that we think we know between males and females, right? So they use this bias, this how will I put it? This era bias, like, okay, for a particular era, the way they
Yeah.
used to think was affected the way they postulated their ideas, especially Darwin. They really attacked Darwin, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so
Exactly.
they use that angle, the Victorian era assumption that whatever science, whatever evolutionary biological science that came out of that time was as a result of the way they used to think at that time, right? But
Yeah. Exactly.
I think what they're trying to do was very disingenuous, right? And
Oh, come on.
yeah, I think it was very disingenuous.
I think it's true. I think it's true. Like the Hobbesian view. You know,
Yeah,
Thomas Hobbes, the guy
yeah,
that
yeah,
described
Thomas Hobbes.
historic life as a solitary, brutish,
Yeah, British.
short,
Yeah.
nasty.
Mm.
Yeah, and what they were trying to say is that he actually was describing life at that
From
time,
his own end. Yeah, yeah, I agree with that. I agree with
condition
that.
at that time, and he actually weaved it into prehistory. That means he thought that, hey, this is how life is, and I don't see how it will be any different from how life was,
Yeah.
prehistoric life. So that, and I think they actually make good point. And if you look at it, the idea that they were solitary, you get, was because of the rise of agriculture. You know, with
Mm-hmm.
agriculture, there was land. You know, this is my land, this is your land. Then my family takes possession of this land, your family takes possession of this land. Everybody, you know, there isn't that mutual dependence, there isn't that interdependence that existed,
Yeah.
you know, between the prehistoric members of prehistoric tribes and the ancient
Yeah.
hunter gatherers and foragers and all of that. So if you look at it, um they were not they moved as a group, you get,
Mm-hmm.
they moved as a group. So how then are they solitary? If they are solitary, they'll be vulnerable to attack from wild animals, so they had to
Yeah.
move in groups, you get.
Yeah.
And they were egalitarian. You can't call people.
So let's I have my own sections on this book,
Yeah,
right?
that's
So maybe like we can go through them one by one. The issue of
okay.
okay, so I'll quote something from the book. So quote, Darwin saw sexual selection as a struggle between males for access to passive, fertile females who
Yeah,
would submit to the victor, right?
yeah, exactly.
He was trying to explain Darwin's what's it called? Darwin's sexual selection. But I don't think it's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's correct. For me, right? The
Yeah.
passive there, he said for access to passive fertile females. They are not
Mm-hmm.
passive, they are active. I think that's the difference between that's what distinguishes us from other apes, is the fact that our females are active in the act of sexual selection. They don't just wait for the victor, whoever wins, to get the passive female. The fertile females also take part in the sexual I think that is one thing that is not. I know that is one thing that distinguishes us from other primates, is the activeness, because women also select, and they select because they have to have access to resources. And then you say that they actually did not need to select because they were in a purely egalitarian society in the first place. Everybody has the same thing, right?
Yeah,
But really,
yeah.
everybody is not what. And I think I shared with you a paper, a journal about the incompleteness of egalitarianism in all these societies, all these pre-agrarian societies, like societies before agricultural revolution, right? That
Yeah.
they were not complete. Did you read it? Did you go through the journal?
No, I think I forgot.
Okay,
Sorry.
okay. If I
I
find if I
forgot.
find it again, I'll share it with you. So the guy
Okay,
laid
no
out, like,
problem.
mentioned at least like 15 to 20 tribes, pre-agrarian tribes. I know some tribes are still hunter gatherers till now, right? So
Yeah, the problem about that. Sorry, the
yeah,
problem about that is that these people have experienced cultural shifts. You
okay,
get, they are surrounded by they've been surrounded by different cultures
okay, okay. That's a fair
that has
objection. Yeah,
developed some kind of political organization
yeah,
and social stratification. You
yeah,
understand?
yeah,
So he's not seeing the actual lifestyle or culture of the prehistoric foragers.
yeah,
He's actually seeing a modern, you get the modernized
yeah,
foraging, the hunter gatherers. You understand?
yeah.
The guys that have actually experienced
Mm,
external influence from agricultural societies, from societies that have a centralized political organization, from societies that are already socially stratified.
yeah,
So they may have incorporated their lifestyle into theirs. You get, so these are not purely not the, yeah, the lifestyle. It's
been
not
altered.
purely what those guys practiced back then.
Okay,
These guys have experienced, influence from all these societies all these years, the patriarchal societies that have different political organizations. So the ideas were incorporated into theirs.
yeah,
Because if okay, look at it. Look at prehistoric times. No possession, no land. Um, the idea of power. You
yeah,
get, the where do you think it would come from? There were no lands to possess. You
yeah,
get, there were no lands to possess. There were no stored produce to defend. There
yeah,
were no you get. So and they were very small groups. They knew each other intimately. They weren't strangers.
mm,
They weren't densely populated. So why would they need any sort of political organization?
okay.
You understand?
That
It
that's
was
a
need.
fair, that's
It
a
was
fair
it was very
objection.
needless. You get,
Yeah.
everything was abundant. So why did they need a king to lead them to do what they
Okay,
need
so
for?
I agree to some degree. I agree to some degree with what you said. I agree to some degree. But me, I have some objections again, right? Let me ask you this. Do you agree that there is hierarchy between men in terms of strength, in terms of physical like appearance, in terms of how fast they are, in terms of speed and all that? There's hierarchy, right? Between men.
Hierarchy. You mean now or then?
No, then and now. Then and now. Hierarchies in terms of strength, in terms
Uh,
of physique,
hierarchy.
in terms of
Okay. Look at this. Look at this. There was a study that they presented, right?
yeah,
About chimpanzees. Those
yeah,
chimpanzees, uh, they were in I think in the middle of, I think, a forest or something, and they brought bananas.
yeah,
Not bananas, sorry. They brought food, ripe fruits,
yeah,
concrete boxes,
yeah,
and presented it to these chimpanzees, and they noticed that these chimpanzees became very aggressive. That bringing of food to them, because normally those chimpanzees, they go about their normal life hunting for food. Then they observe that when a chimpanzee finds food that he calls another one, there's that sharing, there's that cooperation, there's that
yeah,
alliance.
yeah,
So when they now brought those food, they noticed that it's the presence of that food alone dramatically changed the behavior of these chimpanzees. They
yeah,
became competitive, they became aggressive,
yeah,
and they became so noisy and violent
yeah,
because they were struggling for limited resources.
yeah,
So what they are trying to say is that those qualities became those qualities became accentuated because of the rise of agriculture.
yeah,
That men became hierarchical. That it made a difference that a man was faster than the other, because that would mean, like what when I mentioned you on Twitter,
yeah,
um, some men became territorial.
yeah,
You get, because of the rise of agriculture.
yeah,
You get, okay, this is my territory, and the strength and the aggression will mean more territory for me, more resources for me, and the aggression will make me dominate my fellow male and actually control these resources, and they won't threaten the availability of these resources. So
yeah.
that rise of agriculture actually made this side of, not that we weren't aggressive, we are aggressive, oh, we had these propensities, but this rise of agriculture made these propensities very prominent. You
Okay,
get, I think that such behaviors became exhibited after the rise of agriculture. At the
I get.
nascent of of agriculture, men started exhibiting those behaviors. Those behaviors started counting because it ensured that resources were available. You
Yeah.
understand? Yeah,
So
that's my
the,
position
the
on it.
the thing is, my point exactly is
Yeah.
there was hierarchy in the sense. I don't mean hierarchy as per political or social hierarchy, right? I mean hierarchy as
Okay.
per recognizing that someone is the strongest in terms of physique, recognizing that all of them, they hunted and gathered as a group, right? But still
Exactly.
within that group, there were still
Mhm.
people that were exceptionally good, right, at hunting
Yeah.
than other
Yeah.
people, because it's either they
Yeah.
were stronger or they were faster or they had higher cognitive abilities, right?
Yeah.
Those hierarchies were
Exactly.
there. And the thing is, in as much you already said it, that studying all these nomadic and non-nomadic, all these hunter-gathering societies right now
Yeah.
will not be efficient, right? It's not like
Yeah.
it's not
Exactly.
true. To be give you false, because these people have had what's it called? I've had minglings with other cultures, right? But
Yeah.
in as much as that happened, right, the closest people, the closest societies into understanding
Yeah.
prehistorical human beings is these people. In as much as they have had, they've been tainted by other cultures and other societies, but still there are still some things in terms of their livelihood that still points us towards prehistoric times, right? They are the best pointers to prehistory, right? So the thing is,
Yeah.
even
And
like
sorry,
there was like what's it called? There was hierarchy, not political or social hierarchy. By just recognizing
okay.
that there are certain people
Okay.
that yeah. So the thing is, what they
Yeah.
found out in that study, if I get that study and I'll share it with you. What they found out was in those tribes, when they go out to hunt, and this very whoever it is that actually did the most work, or like was the main factor for them catching that game, like the animal they
Mm-hmm.
killed, right? Usually, in
Yeah.
terms of sharing, they give him the largest portion most times, right? Whenever they
Okay.
share, whoever did the most job they give it to them, or whoever. Sometimes there are sometimes like only one person will go out and actually hunt and bring a large game, right? When they share
Yeah.
it, they give it to that. They give a large portion to that person, right?
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
thing is, those people that are successful, and it's a very
Yeah.
small amount of people that are highly successful in what's it called in their game,
Yeah.
right?
Hunting.
Does
Yeah.
it not make sense, or higher than normal in terms of cognitive abilities, right? Does it
Yeah.
not make sense that or those women at that time will be drawn to want to be with a man or with men that are highly successful in terms of hunting, regardless of the fact that they are in a community or they share communal values, they share stuff together. But regardless, because you know that his genes, because the two what's it called? The two instinct of any species, any living species is to
Yeah.
reproduce. I mean, is to survive and reproduce, pass your gene to the
And
next
reproduce.
generation, right?
Yeah.
And not just any
Yeah.
gene, good gene that will make your species survive. Does it not make
Yeah.
sense? Does it not make evolutionary sense that these women, right, select men that have these desirable genes of maybe higher cognitive ability, or that, and even if whenever they have danger, right? The
Yeah.
fastest people and the strongest people are actually they have the highest propensity to escape, right? They have
Yeah.
the highest propensity to get out of danger, or highest propensity
Yeah.
to save people around them, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't it make sense to want to have that kind of gene in your own gene pool? The gene of people that are stronger, people
Yeah.
that are faster. You want it amongst your. I totally agree with you that because they
Yeah.
shared communal whatever, what's it called? They did not need any of these hierarchies. All right. So
Yeah.
I totally understand
Yeah.
that. But I'm talking about the fact that there are differences in people, differences in men. And it makes
Yeah.
evolutionary sense for these women,
Yeah.
for people to pick traits that are desirable for the successive what's it called? And for the survival of their genes. You get what I mean?
There's one other factor that I think you should consider. It's the MHC, major histocompatibility complex.
Mm.
Now it's all about similarity of genes. You get the
Yeah.
more dissimilar a human genes is, the more dissimilar
Yeah.
human genes from the man.
Yeah.
The higher his attractiveness.
Yeah.
You get, yeah, the more attractive he becomes,
Yeah.
the more and the women have this ability to dictate this dissimilarity or similarity
Yeah.
in a man's smell.
Mm.
Have you heard of that thing where
Yeah, yeah,
women are
yeah,
particular guys natural
yeah.
smell?
I've read about that.
Yeah, exactly. So women have that ability to find a genetically compatible partner using using olfaction, that's using their nose to dictate dissimilarity, you get. And if a guy's genes is very dissimilar to a woman's genes, the offspring will actually have greater immunity, stronger immunity, you get. So if their genes are very similar, there's reduced immunity.
Yeah.
You get. The offspring will have a very weak immune system.
Yeah.
So the so-called men, the strong guys, the fast guys, the guys with higher cognitive ability, they may not be genetically compatible with the woman. They may have very similar genes. MHC similarity will be greater in them, you get. So if at all these women were to copulate with them and procreate, it will be accidental, you get. It's just a matter of chance that those desirable traits or those desirable genes will actually, desirable traits of the fast guys will actually be moved or be imprinted in the genes of the offspring, you get. So I don't see that as a the biology is different from the conscious mind. You know, women might consciously go for such men, but their biology actually rejects such men. And yeah, and that's it. So
I have like two other points to make, like two other points from this book, right? There was one thing I noticed from the book was he seemed, he rejected the Victorian idea of Victorian era idea of sexual selection.
Chooses sex.
Yes,
yes.
But he accepted Morgan's hypothesis of omnigamy. Morgan was from the Victorian era. Why did he cherry pick? Why did they accept that? Because there are two people that wrote this book. Why did they accept that Morgan's hypothesis of omnigamy is correct and was not as a result of Victorian bias and Darwin's on this?
Yeah, at the I think at the second chapter or the third chapter, they explain that the best way to actually understand the nature of our prehistoric ancestors is to look at the closest primate, our closest primate cousins, the bonobos, and the chimpanzees. Though they actually found out that female bonobos were very generous with sex. They were very promiscuous. You get. So when you look at that, you get, and then you now look at how women were actually naturally women are also drawn to novelty and variety, just like their men. Just as the men. And they also noticed that the female bonobos were actually interested in several males. They were actually as promiscuous as their male counterparts. You understand? So when they looked at this, they decided that the lifestyle, the sexual lifestyle of these primates actually should give insight to the sexual lifestyle of our prehistoric ancestors. So that's why they opted for primal horde. That's the omnigamy. Listen to this, bro. Listen to this. They discovered some tribes. I remember I told you about shared paternity. Some tribes actually, in some tribes, women are very generous with sex. Women don't hold back. Women don't withhold sex. They actually go for it. They are very active. They seek. They are not coy, needing to be courted and persuaded. You get, and begged. These women freely gave sex. cultures that practice partible paternity or shared paternity, where they believe that accumulated semen
Yeah.
helps in the
Yeah.
development
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
fetus. Yeah, they actually notice that
Even in
women
Europe for a long
really
time they
slept
believe that.
with as many men as they could.
Yeah.
So and also some cultures actually permitted lovers having lovers outside their marriage. You understand?
Yeah.
So women had sexual relationship outside their marriage, and in some cultures, and in some cultures, before a wedding, before a marriage ceremony, or I think a day before the marriage ceremony or a day before consummation of the marriage, the woman has to sleep with all the members of the man's
Jesus Christ.
all the members of the man's
That's very
family.
horrific. That's very horrific.
And those cultures did not prohibit them. Those cultures did not see it as irresponsible behavior. Those cultures did not see it as immoral.
Yeah.
Very okay. They even encouraged it. You get,
Yeah.
and and then when you compare it with the standard narrative that we are inherently sexually monogamous, that we
No. That is
partner.
that is one of the straw mans I saw. Like
No, no, no.
most evolutionary psychologists
Yeah.
don't say that we are inherently monogamous.
Okay.
Why we are monogamous right now is called enforced monogamy, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
it's like a social enforcement. So it's like socially
Okay.
promoted, culturally inculcated monogamy. All right. So it's not like
Yeah.
we are genetically what's it called, programmed to
Monogamy.
practice monogamy. So why the that this is the literature for now in terms of enforced monogamy. And there's a
Yeah.
paper on that. I think I'll share it with you. There's a paper on that.
Okay.
So they said the reason why cultures eventually evolved to what's it called to be monogamous was because
Mhm.
this is something you will not agree with: the hypergamity of females, right? And the propensity of males to be polygynous, or human beings to be polygynous. Polygynous having several
Yeah.
whatever.
Several
Do you
female
understand?
mates.
So I am not saying, right, that females are monogamous. They are saying that they might be polygynous, right? But whatever
Yeah.
male they pick is always across and above the social hierarchy, right? They could do with several people. They're gonna have relationships with several people, like prehistorically, yeah. But it's
Yeah.
usually people across and above the social hierarchy. And men, so the thing is, men do the opposites, across and below. All right. And
Sorry.
the thing is, um,
Mm-hmm.
so they found out that they did a study and they found out that majority of the violence is between males. Male
Mm-hmm.
aggression basically is because
Yeah.
of
Competition over sex.
lack of partners, right?
Yeah.
Is that is
Yeah.
the basic lack of partner. So the thing
Yeah.
is, in society, anywhere, any community, there are very few people that are hyper successful, right? And
Yeah.
because there are very people that are on top of that, very few people that are on top of that social hierarchy, right?
Yeah.
And females peak from the top, all right?
From
Or according to their
yeah.
studies, they peak from the top. And
Yeah.
males are, or people, male and female, they are polygynous in
Yeah.
nature, right? They want multiple partners. So there will be an unfair selection of females by the hyper successful males. Do you understand? So the hyper successful males will pick as many female partners they want. All right. So leaving the remaining large amount of males that are not as successful as those hyper successful ones, and leaving them marginalized, right? And that usually causes violence because the hierarchy will become so steep and it will destabilize at the end, right? Causes
Yeah.
wars and whatnot. So that is why some or most societies evolved to, in order to regulate female reproduction. So the thing is, if females were allowed to, like, or if female not allowed it, but if females copulated with multiple men at the same time, had multiple relationships and whatnot, there will be too many babies, so to speak, to paraphrase, there'll be too many babies, and majority of them will not survive, right? So first and foremost was to regulate female reproduction, right? And secondly, to regulate male aggression, so that everyone doesn't die. But I'm not saying, and that is the problem, one of the problems I saw with this book, that they misunderstood literature, the actual literature of the evolutionary psychology or biologists on that issue. So let's move to the last book. I read Art of Seduction when I was in secondary school ish. Yes.
Okay.
By Robert Greene. And Art of Seduction, Robert Greene.
Yeah.
It was I kind of went through it again because it's been a while since I read it. And normal Robert Greene, the guy's always butting head, like giving all these very deep laws. And they are not just laws from the top of his head. He uses history, he uses philosophy, he uses like really deep stuff to talk about
psychology.
Yeah, psychology. Yeah. What do you think about the book?
I think the book is about how we can make ourselves attractive, how we can lower people's walls, the walls they build around themselves. You know, people, they feel vulnerable, you get, and they feel that people are being manipulative and all that, and they build these walls around themselves here to protect themselves and all that, and they are resistant. They are resistant to our influence. So what Art of Seduction does is to expose the reasons behind why these wars are up. You understand? Why people are resistant, why people are the way they are, why they have repressed desires, why they think the way they do, and what makes them tick and all that. So it exposes how to the reasons behind them and how to lower this resistance, break down these walls that they use. They erected to protect their insecurity and so that's basically what the book is about. And I love the way that he uses experiences of historical figures to actually illustrate the points. He draws the laws from their experiences, and that's the beauty of the book, I think.
So like I think there are like nine characters, right? Nine
exactly.
seductive characters. For the nine are Cyrene, Rake, the lover, dandy, natural, coquettes, charismatic, and star. Those are like the nine different seductive characters. The ones that really caught my eye, like the one I like bust my head, was the Cyrene. The story of Cleopatra is a very beautiful story, beautiful with a very terrible ending. So I really love that Cyrene part, the Cyrene, Rake, and charismatic. The other ones I was like, man, not really my thing.
I think the star is the least impressive. You're just talking about celebrities and how they can use their fame and garner public affection and all that. I think it's the least impressive. And just 2 hours ago, I was tweeting on about seduction. I wanted to say that the Siren, I think, is the most powerful seductress for the female, and the Rake the most powerful seducer for the male.
Those were the ones that like stood out for me. About the story of her story is very, very intriguing. Like I read a biography of her by, I think, Jacob Abbott. He talked extensively on the person of Cleopatra, and like she was one of the most beautiful women ever in the land then. and like
Yeah.
she was so
No,
good.
no, she wasn't. She wasn't that beautiful. I think
Really?
Robert Greene pointed that out. Yeah, everyone thinks she's so popular and she's a known
Yeah, she was a
seducer.
pharaoh. She was the pharaoh, the last
Yeah,
pharaoh of Egypt.
yeah.
Yeah.
Robert Greene pointed that out that she isn't really the most beautiful. That it's just her strategies, her deadly strategies that actually,
Really?
made those men.
Mm.
Got that actually made those men
Yeah.
to fall in love with her and lust after her. It's just all about her strategies,
Okay,
and that's what made
but for the
her
listeners that, oh sorry, for the listeners that are people that are listening that might not know what we mean by siren. So like, can you like tell us what it actually entails, what it means to be a siren?
They are just women that have this that they exude this sexiness.
Yeah.
There's something about them. They are effortlessly sexy.
Yeah.
When we talk about sirens, we talk about the Beyonce, beautiful with a very beautiful skin, and all they exude or ooze is sex. They have the sex appeal,
Yeah.
and yeah, and what actually makes them stand out is the ability to provide what a man really desires. And that's a variety, novelty, and adventure.
Yeah.
So the siren actually fixates on a man's basic emotions. Basic emotions, that's just lust. Yeah,
Yeah.
lust. Yeah, because we all know that the man's weakness is lust. So the
So
siren actually
it's
exploits a man's lust is actually a man's weakness, which
yeah.
the siren exploits. So and and she does this with I think she uses of physical lures, what Robert Greene calls physical lures, seductive clothing,
Yeah.
um
Voice, eyes,
yeah,
beauty,
yeah, and
skin. Yeah.
they're
100%.
trying to have this create a goddess like effect on men.
Yeah.
That men have this propensity to fantasize about
Yeah.
goddesses and have all these fantasies about certain type of women. So the siren actually takes advantage of that, provides or embodies that fantasy.
Yeah.
Like what they do, they use the waves and up to actually create that to embody that fantasy that men usually have.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and when I talked about men having the desire for novelty, adventure,
Variety.
variety, yeah, sirens make use of makeup
Yeah.
to actually create that illusion. When a girl wears a certain makeup style, she looks a certain type of way.
Yeah.
Wears another makeup style, she looks different. So that's an illusion of variety because I remember we said that the two books, Sex Are Done and this one are somehow related. In Sex Are Done, the authors mentioned that men actually evolved that desire for novelty and variety to prevent the stagnation of our gene pool through incest.
Yeah.
So that's why men have that desire to actually, have sexual relations with different women.
Yeah.
So instead of the man actually going out for those different women, one woman can actually use makeup
Yeah.
to create that
The
effect of
different illusions.
variety.
Oh, I've never seen it that way.
I talk about it so much on Twitter, and I think that's a way of seeing it, and that's why makeup is very
Mm.
potent.
Yeah.
Yeah, for seduction.
So what?
You can look like a goddess. You can look like anything you want to
So
be.
that's
You
like
know,
another
yeah,
evolutionary psychological explanation for the use of what's it called, of
makeup.
makeup.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah,
Actually. So the siren, like as you said, basically someone that hear that from you because you are always about I don't know, but maybe this is straw man of your arguments, but you're always about that
okay.
whatever
Yeah,
bad things
I
men.
do that because of my Christian apologetics. I'm a
Oh,
divine command theory, so I always thought, and I usually discuss about morality. So yeah,
okay. Then the rake too, like was I could relate in a way because I know people that it has happened. Like I know girls this thing has happened to. A typical example of good girl likes bad boy. So a rake basically is someone
exactly,
that he's a bad boy and he's not shy. He doesn't lie about the fact that he's a bad boy. He's
exactly,
planned, yeah. He has multiple relationships with multiple women.
exactly.
So basically, what it does, and like why it is very seductive for especially good women is it
Mhm.
provides freedom from routine and virtue and decency, right? So like it gives them a
Exactly.
sense of adventure, like, and also I something that he said that was very profound that I saw was that I said about women that fall prey to rapes is ability to make women want to reform them. So especially
Yeah,
when you see a
exactly.
good girl with a very bad guy, whatever what she
Yeah,
would say is like she wants to change him. I can't change him. He's
yeah,
actually a good guy on the inside if you talk to him. But I'm trying to change him.
exactly.
So that was like, yeah, I was like, yeah, I understand what this is.
And something about the rake I wanted to add is
Mm,
that he pushes women to do things that are taboos. Yes, things
yeah.
that are dangerous. Yeah, and to exhibit. The rake makes women to exhibit transgressive behavior to
Mm,
sin.
mm.
Yeah, you
I
get.
think an actual example is have you seen this series Money Heist? See Money Heist.
Uh, no,
Okay.
no, I
So
haven't.
there is this woman, I've forgotten her name. So but like she's the secretary of the bank, and there was a heist that took place, and she fell in love with one of the most terrible of the people, of the robbers, right?
Mm,
The guy was very unpredictable. Like he gets angry. He's like a maniac. Do you understand? It was like the terrible
yeah.
of the bunch. And weirdly, she's the good woman, a very good woman. Weirdly, she just fell in love with him.
Hmm.
The guy gave her this sense of freedom and adventure. One thing
Yeah.
profound about him, like he was unapologetic about who he was. Like he doesn't hide the fact that he's a maniac. Do you understand? Like
Yeah.
yeah, so
Exactly.
but why exactly when you told me this book as amongst your books, I was like kind of curious as to like why exactly why do you like Art of Seduction so much? Why is it one of your top books?
Uh, well, personally it helped me.
Okay.
You know, I was really that nerdy guy.
Okay.
The yeah, you get the guy that couldn't get girls when I was in secondary school,
Mm.
and I needed to change that about me. I needed to.
Oh, okay.
Uh, I was seen as a nice guy, and I didn't like it because of the negative associations
Yeah.
they make nice guys you get.
Yeah.
So I wanted to change that about me,
Yeah.
and yeah, I wanted to add uh, shall I say, negative, you know, a little bit of negative, association.
Yeah.
You get
Mm.
rebel or something. You get.
Mm.
So that's why I actually picked the book,
Okay.
and I've always been someone that loves, that is so obsessed with human nature. I
Mm.
really want to know why.
Why people think the way they think.
Yeah, why we make certain decisions, why we find certain people attractive, why we find certain actions attractive. And Art of Seduction just did it for me. It exposed so many things about us that I'm really thankful to Robert Greene for for writing such a wonderful book. Yeah, one of my best books. And one thing about the Art of Seduction is that I read it almost every year.
Are you
I
serious?
think I've read it, yeah, up to 4 or 5 times. Yeah, and the thing is, when you read it, the ideas, you internalize the ideas, and when you're in, I used many of my ideas to get my first girlfriend and
Really?
to actually flirt. I used the ideas to make friends,
Yeah.
so it has been helpful. Yeah,
Wow.
the
So
book has been
guys, if you
really
are listening and you are finding it hard to get chicks, just read Art of Seduction. It's going to help you.
Out of Seduction. I recommend.
Anyways, this has been a wonderful, wonderful conversation. Though, like we
Yeah,
argued a lot, but at least we learned from each other. I learned a lot from you. I learned a
exactly.
lot,
It was,
and I
it was,
think
it was nice.
I'm going to shift my what's it called, my position a bit on hypergamity and polygynous societies. But anyways,
Yeah,
I want to thank you for taking out your time to do this. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
you're welcome.
Yeah.
You're welcome
And
for giving me an opportunity
yeah.
to be to feature in your podcast.
You're welcome. You're welcome, my brother. And so for everyone that listened to this podcast, thank you very much.